America, 1988. Every man and woman faces the recession, faces a changing world, is lost and confused in the national shuffle, finding no other outlets, feeling abandoned by their government, their families, their gods. They turn to substances that warp and warble their perceptions. They feel 50 feet tall, too big to be bothered by the problems of the day, by the bodies in the fields, but the feeling fades, so they ingest more and more until they can no longer live without those vile necessities. The country is thrust into a drug epidemic.
There are more drugs entering New York City than ever before.
This is a serious issue, and there's only one way to combat this problem. Really bland cheap-ass cartoons from the 80s. Let's take a look at the Flintstone Kids Just Say No special. And what makes it so special? Michael Jackson. In an anti-drug cartoon. Didn't he die last year of a car accident or something? I'm gonna have to look this up. Roll the opening thing.
'Cause it makes me feel like I'm a man when I put a spike into my vein and I tell you things aren't quite the same.
Oh yeah, propofol. How quickly we forget. Wait, a celebrity who died of drug use in a cartoon about drug use. Might have to rethink some of my jokes, seem in poor taste.
Hey, I'm scared. I'm ready to play Michael Jackson for your little skit here. I got the Michael Jackson voice down. Hi, I'm Michael Jackson. Who wants propofol in little boy's underwear?
Yeah, that skit's a little in bad taste. Yeah, I don't need you anymore.
Are you fucking kidding me? Do you know how much trouble I went through to get this?
But I don't want the painkillers, just keep them to yourself.
What? No, painkillers grow on trees here in Florida. Found out the little boy's underwear. Looked like a fucking pervert walking around looking at underoos at Walmart. Store security was following me around.
Why didn't you just say they were a gift for your son?
What, I look like a lame father who buys his son underwear for his birthday? I think I'm a pedophile. Fuck you, the obscure.
He gets me high. Let's start by taking a look at the Flintstone Kids in general. Well, this was a show from 1986 to 1988. Yeah, I have nothing else to add. It sucked. I hated it. You know what, let's take a look at the Flintstones for a second. The Flintstones was a long-running primetime animated sitcom about a middle-aged blue-collar American couple surviving in the harsh world of the suburbs. And with dinosaurs. It worked as a satire of modern life by transplanting the typical American experience into a time we perceive to be simple, short, and brutish. You know, unlike the 50s. It makes you question all the stress we put on technological innovation. Now take that concept and strip it of all its cultural relevance, but what are you left with? Nothing. And that's what the Flintstone Kids was. A big steaming pile of nothing. Characterless characters, simple point A to point B plots, and effortless voice acting from talented voice actors culminates into a forgettable Saturday morning mess. But at least they maintained the badly drawn dinosaurs. Really, the only thing I ever retained from the series was Captain Caveman. And he has nothing to do with this fucking special. Probably because the DEA thought the man was made entirely out of hemp. And sun. And because I love my audience so much, I found the best quality version of this cartoon online. Yeah. Now let me give you a thorough analysis of the plot.
Wilma, smoke this weed. I don't want to.
Smoke this weed or you're not cool.
Should I smoke the weed?
Don't smoke the weed.
I won't smoke the weed.
Drugs are for losers.
Nancy Reagan.
Yay, Michael Jackson!
End. That's all you need to know plot-wise. But to dig a little deeper, the story orbits on Wilma hanging around with the bad crowd, the kids who want to be older than they are. Whatever happened to young rebels wearing mohawks and leather jackets anyway? Kids these days got their spray-on tans and their hair highlights are turned greenish, look like damn Oompa Loompas. Kids experiment with drugs for numerous reasons, but TV writers seem to focus on peer pressure as the #1 cause. Wilma's dilemma is that this Stone Age stoner won't let her in the group if she doesn't smoke a joint. And what is the name of this Paleolithic pothead? Stony. Yeah, he was doomed from the start.
I smoked a few of these already, and they haven't bothered me at all.
Are you sure it's the weed messing him up? Are you sure he's not just, stupid? Is he one of those kids that fried his brain cells staring at the sun when you told him not to?
Give it a try.
Oh gosh, is it 3 o'clock already?
This special only has an effect on the viewer if they already have a predisposition to antagonizing illicit substances.
It was drugs.
Drugs?
New York City!
If the little purple dinosaur hates it must be bad. Also, this is the problem with having this set in Land Before Time. You can't convince me that cavemen weren't getting high. Marijuana predates beer, wine, and tobacco. Tell me this was drawn while sober. Now, all criticism aside, I guess it's a bit unrealistic to think that a simple cartoon could rehabilitate drug users. Instead, it focuses on reinforcing the anti-drug message school children would have learned elsewhere. You know, the whole learn by repetition. The kids already using drugs would need something a little stronger, a little more persuasive, a little more cartoon all-stars to the rescue. I mean, the kid in that had moved past marijuana and was hooked on... fishing tackle? Really, what is that? As for the Just Say No special, I guess it's not such a bad thing.
Lots of cool kids don't use drugs.
It just melts into the ocean of 80s anti-drug propaganda and becomes forgettable like tears in the rain. But it does remind me of why the Flintstone Kids was a forgettable mound of gravel. Take this story for instance. Wilma doesn't want to do drugs. And she doesn't. She joins back up with her old crew. They start a Just Say No club and form a business to raise money for Michael Jackson tickets. Some kind of pet care wagon for yuppies. And, well, no, the writers had to pad this thing out, so this grasshole returns to mess things up.
So, how's that stupid Just Say No club of yours coming along? Ugh.
Yep, right as brain stared at the sun.
I'll teach Wilma and her friends to make a fool out of, me.
Oh, what have you done to Crusher?
I don't get it. We followed directions to the letter.
How do they always manage to bollocks things up?
Oh no, they mixed up those 4 easily distinguishable pets. Everything is chaos. Oh, and there's also a black kid named Philo. Wait a minute. There were no black characters in the original Flintstones. So apparently between their childhoods and adulthood, all the people of color and ethnicity had disappeared from Bedrock. Except for the Asians, they were still around, but they were...
Big buggin'. Ah, yes.
products of the era.
Oh, that's for sure.
I don't know how, but you had something to do with this mess. I'm gonna show you how wrong you were about us. We're gonna...
You're a caveman, smash his damn head with a rock. Make things interesting.
We're gonna beat you at the riddle rally tomorrow.
Beat you at the riddle rally with a rock. Yeah. Well, without money, the kids participate in the riddle rally. Main prize, Michael Jackson tickets. How convenient. And of course they win. Potheads aren't known for their athletic ability. See kids, don't smoke weed. Snort crack, you're sure to win.
Stoney, these fell out of your pocket.
Jet it, man, it's the fuzz. And Stoney gets put on ice. And now, the part you've all been waiting for. Michael Jackson. Nancy Reagan.
The music you've been waiting for is coming right up.
Yeah, Nancy, I don't know about you, but I've been waiting for this.
Giddy up, boom, bop, boom, bop, bow, bow. Giddy up, boom, bop, bow.
Like Freddie and Wilma, thousands of children have formed Just Say No clubs and have pledged to lead a drug-free life.
And that's fine and all, just don't get those obnoxious, self-righteous tattoos. And now, Michael Jackson. Hold on, this is the Flintstones. I have to have a terrible pun involved. Michael Jackstone. Look at that. Just look at that. Wow, what a work of art. So yeah, after this whole half hour, which is like a million years in kid time, especially drug-addicted kid time, we get this poor reworking of Beat It. Although I do like the dinosaur backup band there, that always wins. It's really bittersweet to see Michael Jackstone singing about shunning the vice that eventually did him in. But I guess Whitney Houston wasn't available. There was Kurt Colvane, Brick James, Dee Dee Rastone, and Michael Jackstone. Yeah, that's right, Michael's not even in this stupid thing. His voice is played by Venice frontman Kip Lennon, who also provided Jackson's singing voice in the Simpsons episode Stark Raving Dad. So in the end, what you've got is a Michael Jackson impressionist doing an altered version of Beat It. Unless his name starts with weird, I don't think any of us have an interest. When a scruffy-headed Neanderthal offers you drugs, what are you gonna say? Probably depends on the situation. Despite what these propagandists say, it's never as easy as just saying no. That's an idiot solution. Because you can say no to others, but it's hard to say no to yourself. If these specials wanted to be effective, they would have taught kids better ways to cope with the stressful nihilism of modern life. If they were really smart, they would have given them alternatives to illegal substances. Like cigarettes.
Winston's got that filter blend.
Or fatty foods. or sugary cereals.
If you put sweet pebbles in your mouth, you'll never have rocks in your head.
Or they just force feed them a plethora of Prozac. Giving the advice just say no is never enough, and it's completely laughable. In fact, it can be counterproductive. I used to be in a Just Say No club, and then Coral Snake McGee found a loophole.
Hey, do you not want to get high, kid?
No. Ah, damn, he got me again. As for Michael Jackson, his presence here exhibits one downfall of 80s anti-drug propaganda. It completely disregards the dangers of prescription drug addiction. It's as though the drug companies don't want you to recognize that. But to be fair, it's not even the real Michael Jackson. Although LaToya Jackson does have an original song in it. And I think Nancy Reagan's voice is performed by Tito Jackson. It still strikes me as odd to see this. It's like finding out Rick Santorum wrote a children's book about not being a jerk. With a foreword by Jerry Sandusky. Ha! That'd be weird. Let me Google that and make sure it doesn't exist. Yeah, roll the credits, I'll be right back.
Oh, have you ever met that funny reefer man? Reefer man!
Well, it doesn't exist. But Karen Santorum wrote a book on good manners with a foreword by Joe Paterno. And Rick Santorum wrote a story on the hygienic importance of napkins. I'm gonna have to say no to that.
Drugs take away the dream from every child's heart and replace it with a nightmare. And it's time we in America stand up and replace those dreams.
No, 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 no!